52 points last night. Collingwood absolutely towed up Brisbane.
You're a believer, aren't you?
Yeah,
you think they can go all the way?
I'm on there. I'm on the Pies train. Have been all along. 16-9, 105 to 7-11, 53.
Who has a better career, Nick Dacos or Gary Ablett Jr.?
Nick Dacos.
He's on fire, isn't he? Have you seen a kid be at this sort of level so early in his career?
I love Gary Ablett. I can never take that away, but he is heading to Gary Ablett areas. Yeah. No one can pick him up. No one can play on him.
38 votes last year in the Brownlow, lost by 7.
Oh, that's ludicrous.
Did they make a mistake not tagging him from the get-go?
Him. How do you tag him?
Oh, you've got to have somebody.
How?
Well, you've got to have a big body. Josh Dunkley, where was Josh Dunkley last night? He probably should have got at least around stoppage.
I think they got it wrong.
So you reckon he's at that point, untaggable, try and get something back the other way, run off him.
This was Fagan at half-time last night in the coverage.
You've gone one-on-one with Nick Dacos. Do you go with a hard tag in the second half?
Yeah, we will. We'll put Berry to him. We tried something that didn't work all that well, to be honest. So Berry will go to him in this quarter.
Okay, and this was Dunkley post-game after he continued on his way.
Nick Dacos dominated early. Did you let him run free too easily in that first half?
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, when we review it, we'll have a look at it. But, yeah, it's hard because we wanted it to be more of a team mindset to look after him. But, mate, he's a great player. Like, he runs for days. There's a reason why he's one of the best players in the competition. And
he was unbelievable last night. He just wins the Brownlow. If he just gets through injury-free, he just wins the Brownlow.
Yeah, and he's got that added advantage that everybody knows he's a star player. We saw last year he probably picked up a few votes that he didn't deserve. Likewise, at times, Paddy Cripps, but I think he's just in rare air, isn't he? 38 disposals, 12 score involvements, 645 metres gained.
He and his brother had over 1,200 metres gained together. I
like the move too, Josh Dacos going to defence.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a very important position on the ground nowadays. You've got to have players with a bit of speed that can change the angles, change direction of the footy, but most importantly, hit those targets. And with both of those boys, they've got that. The older boys still getting it done. Yeah. Pendlebury, side bottom. Side bottom's career best. Maybe not career best, but close to it. He looked shot last year. He was gone.
He did.
And Pendlebury was shot in round 1.
I love Jamie Elliott. Jamie Elliott, they interviewed post-game, and I made a comment on social media. He's so educated to the game. He looks, sometimes you look at him and goes, he doesn't want to be there. He's got all the ink. He's sort of low-key. But his knowledge of the game is elite. And hearing him speak after the game, it's like, wow, he's impressive.
Still got some good players to come back in too. Dan Houston, he goes okay. Lockie Schultz was one of their better players this year. So how is this different than West Coast? When West Coast won the premiership and they kept on going to the well with their senior players, is there a time where Collingwood fall off the cliff because they're going to have these retirements? Or are they just that big a club that they'll just be able to keep getting players in through free agency?
I think everyone wants to play for Collingwood. I think you want to play. You're
mad not to play in front of 80,000 every week. It's a massive advantage.
You want to play for Manchester United. I know they're not any good at the moment, but you want to play for them. They're the big clubs in the world that people want to play for.
So who's out in the next 2 years? You've got Sidebottom, Pendlebury, Howe, Crisp, who's going to equal the record.
Yeah.
Did you ever think Jim Steins' 2-4-4 games in a row would be broken?
I didn't.
So he's still playing pretty good footy. Then they've gone, Maynard won't be there next year. Looks like he'll end up at the North Melbourne Football Club, and they just can't match that sort of deal. We wait to see where Cameron ends up. He had another good game last night, but he's 30 years of age as well. We know they brought in some senior players. Myercheck's on the... So at some point...
Yeah.
This is going to collapse.
But still get the Dacos
like a house of cards.
Still get the Dacos. Do you think so?
Cox is another one.
Yeah,
McStay, he's a little bit younger. And Moore's back to his very best.
Are clubs disrespecting, as Ray says on the text, are clubs disrespecting Collingwood? And age is just a number because they are the oldest team in the history of the game. But boy, oh boy, they just know what's going on. Every one of them does. They're they're all so on the same. They make Billy Frampton look like David Dench.
I don't know if they disrespect them because they know how well they're going. And even going into this game, I thought we knew that they were a chance against Brisbane up there, which you don't say lightly because
they look
Brisbane...
happy though, don't they? When McRae's on the bench, I know that's when they're winning, it's different. But when McRae's on the bench, they just look happy. He looks like he's so in sync with every player that comes off the ground. He doesn't look like he's got his arms folded and disinterested. Win, lose or draw, he looks like he's so ingrained in them.
Chris Fagan didn't look ingrained.
No.
With Dane Zorko, who had a nightmare third quarter.
Did.
Got done for dissent. He was ran down. Then Elliott kicked a goal on him in the third quarter. He came off. There was words spoken. I didn't like his body language. He's almost brushing off the coach. You don't like to see that from any
Sulked on the
player,
bench, arms folded.
let alone a senior player like him.
Did you see last night there was the 50-metre penalty he paid against Zach Bailey?
Yes.
And then there was a second 50-metre penalty against him as well. Did you know the first one, they measured it on Fox? They went into the lab. 78 metres, 77 metres.
Oh, boy.
How does that happen?
Well, it's because umpires don't know, can't measure. That's the issue. Goes back to they don't measure the mark being 15 metres either.
How can you?
Well, you've been around long enough.
So there's one the other day where they went from, they were clearly 1 metre or 2 metres on the point post, across from there, and they kicked it all the way 2 metres over.
Yeah.
So you should know in your mind that that's 18 metres roughly.
Straight away.
So it was a 20-metre kick, and they called play on.
All righty. Let's have a listen. I want to play this before we get into the rest of it. This is Chris Fagan post-game. This is a little bit of an exchange with the journo, and he makes some very valid points about not being so disheartened about last night's 52-point loss.
Do you think your players were waiting for things to happen? Do you think they were just sitting back and thinking things would turn given what we've seen in recent weeks?
No, I don't think so. I just thought Collingwood were way more desperate to win tonight than what we were, to be honest.
Do you feel the nature of come back sort of caught up with you a little bit?
Maybe. But I look at this group. They've won 19 of their last 21 games. You're going to have a bad day at some point in time. We haven't had one for a long time. We had a shocker tonight. And Collingwood played really well. All credit to them. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that we lost the game because we played poorly. It was a combination of they played very, very well. And we were off our game. We had a lot of our really good players played below their normal levels. And it was just a lacklustre performance.
I liked it. I agree. They had an off night. I wouldn't be getting too disheartened if I was them.
5-day breaks. Another one, we saw it last week with Adelaide. Does it play a part?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does. But again, I'm not in this.
That's we love Thursday night footy, but that's the balancing act of the AFL, that you've got to have clubs that just can't go from Friday to Thursday. It has to be Saturday to Thursday.
But they were the home team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the other team went to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
You know what other teams are getting better at is travelling and actually spending the week away.
Well, Fremantle went from Adelaide, which I find really bizarre.
So does it open up the possibility in the future where our clubs
camp over there?
Yep. Go and do 2 in a row.
Yeah.
So that then you get a good run back here.
Yeah, it's a very good point you make. Let's turn our attention to today's footy, and this is, as you mentioned in the pre-game, so we've got 13th, 14th, 15th and 18th playing today, so don't go anywhere. Warlaw is in for Riley Hardiman, and Akers, Hollins, that's Elijah, and Lewis Young come in for Doherty, who's been dropped. I think we saw that coming. Harry Mackay and Brody Kemp both injured. But how's this? Disrespect by North Melbourne. If you're a WA North Melbourne fan, you'd be annoyed. On the bench, on the emergencies, Hardiman, Teakle and Hansen Jr. Just snub for West Australian footballers.
And which ones of those should be in the...
Oh, Hansen, you just got to keep playing Hansen Jr. He's your Dudley.
I had this written down for statements. If North Melbourne put in a poor performance this week, they should lose the Good Friday game.
I think that's heading that way.
Because they haven't really taken on that time slot, and they've been really disappointing. Yeah. I'll give them a chance in this one.
So do I.
Carlton, they find a way to keep you in the game because they're not a high-scoring team. No Harry Mackay this week. Charlie's not the normal Charlie that we know, and the midfield is the strength of Carlton. And, look, we sing the praises of this midfield by name of North Melbourne, but it needs to be more than just the names on a piece of paper. It needs to be collectively attacking, but also defensive. And I think if they can do the job and take some pressure off that defence, which is pretty poor at times at North Melbourne, I think this is the week that they can show some fight and get the result.
Can I just say to you, I'm standing here looking at these lineups right now. Take it to the bank. North Melbourne are a certainty today.
Well,
North
by
Melbourne.
name, if you look through their midfield, it's the deepest midfield that any club's got in terms of A-grade talent, or maybe some B-graders there. But
look at that.
Look at the midfield. Sheasel, LDU, Tom Powell's been in good form. Simpkins, a really good player.
Sherry's a fine
Cherry's a ruckman. Luke Parker's coming to that
Wardlaw's
mix.
back.
McCurch is there as well.
Dane Dersma's there.
Yeah. But they're not performing.
No, but they
Can they put one of those players to half back to give them something? Because we always We always sit here and we go, okay, it's Charlie Comben, it's Aidan Corr.
Yeah.
I've heard Aidan Corr for a long time.
Griffin
Do
Logue.
they need to make Griffin Logue
Luke McDonald.
as well? Luke
Darcy
McDonald.
Tucker, Caleb Daniel. Their backlines are terrible.
Caleb Daniel, he gives up a bit.
Hang on.
He's given them a bit
What
of
did I say? Yeah.
attacking prowess, but he gives up a few as well because of his inability to be able to take size and shape in the back half.
Did you tip Collingwood or
Brisbane? I tipped.
See, I tipped Collingwood. I was so bullish about Collingwood. It was just a late moment. I just thought, you know what?
The amount of upsets
I'm
on
the king.
Thursday and Friday, Tim, are massive.
Can I just say that someone said to me yesterday that they had and don't forget, chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. They had a multi with the 9 outsiders, and it was 28,000 to 1 or something. Like by the time you
We don't get 9, but you'll get a few. Unfortunately, they won't. They're more than likely to lose that bet. But I find Thursday, Friday, just all the time you'll get an unexpected result.
who are you tipping?
I'm going to go North Melbourne.
Yeah, certainties. Absolute
one.
morals.
Yeah,
Absolute
I'm not convinced
morals.
on Carlton. I'm not convinced Michael Voss will be there long term.
And what a great warm-up it is for tonight's blockbuster here. You hear it all on AFL Nation in WA. In McGovern, Flynn, Kelly and Hewitt, Brock, Hall, Allen and Williams are all out. It's Bailey Williams. Peter Wright comes back in for Nick Bryan.
What are we going to get from the West Coast Eagles in
Better.
terms of their intensity stats, their
Better.
ability to win the contested ball? We know last week 77 was an all-time low. Tackling, it needs to be about reaction time. So who's going to be the first to try and win the ball? If you don't win it, can you strip the opposition, get the ball back, give yourself some second chances? They're still going to have some issues moving the ball. We know that from the back half. They're probably not the most talented group at the moment, but unless they bring those contested components to their game, it's going to be another hard watch for the West Coast Eagles. What do they do with Zach Merritt? Like, Zach Merritt's right up there with the top players in the competition this year. He's been more forward of centre where he's actually scoring as well. Do you think they put somebody to him, or Andrew McQualter hasn't shown any willingness really,
No, not really.
to run with any player,
Not
has
really.
he?
No, he hasn't. And maybe it's time to give Jaden Hunt a job.
Do you need to take something away from the opposition?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to show some sort of
Because
defensive
clubs,
mechanism.
Tim Kelly got dropped and he's back in the side, but he was tagged 2 weeks ago against the Giants, the week that he got dropped. So clubs are doing it to him. They're taking away their barometer type of player. I think he responds tonight, Tim Kelly.
Yeah, agree.
I think he'll look good. He'll be trying to win the footy.
Yep, agree.
And hopefully he just goes out there with a clear mind. Draper's been in good form too. He's been kicking a few goals, so they've got a challenge in the ruck with Matt Flynn coming back into it. But as we said earlier, I've been impressed with the numbers of Matt Flynn's 25 and 20 disposals. I think you need that extra player in the midfield that just hopefully frees up one of the mids. Can't see them getting it done, but I think they'll be more competitive for a longer period of time, but they'll get blown away later.
We're doing this for Greenworks, Australia's ultimate battery-powered garden brand, so that's take care of the footy. We'll take a break and come back. Coming up, we'll dissect the games for the rest of the round. So far, we're both tipping North Melbourne. We're both tipping Essendon. This is Hase and Goss. Nick says, hey, lads, thoughts on the omission of Clay Hall? Thought he'd be a bit stiff. Certainly hasn't been our worst. Yeah, we touched on it earlier, Nick. Just got to do more. Got to do more. Got to use the ball better. I think he's a work in progress. We're doing it for Greenworks. Greenworks Power, Greenworks Quality, Greenworks Range. Your ultimate battery power garden brand is now here. Paul Hasleby dissecting the round ahead. Just a quick one. Alan from Bunbury says, why doesn't... I think you meant Bo Allen in regards to your text there, Al. Doesn't get a game. He's crook, Al. He's been crook for ages. He's come good. He goes to training and then they say he's ill.
It says Bo Waters on that text.
Yeah, it's meant to be
He's
Bo.
long gone.
Yeah, he's done.
I'd like his ferocity at the contest back though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think he means Bo Allen. All righty, get our teeth into these. We'll just dissect Melbourne and Fremantle. Here's Justin Longmuir talking about why they're playing Oscar McDonald.
He's played that role, Vossi's role at Waffle. We've tried to develop him into a bit of a swingman for us and needs base. So we've got a number of tall defenders that he's probably behind at the moment. So to create opportunities for him to get into the team, we've put him forward, and he's played that forward ruck role for us. So he's an option. The other option is to do it within the team.
Oscar McDonald in for Patrick Voss. Tholstrup, Fullerton and Turner in for Melbourne. Van Rooyen, Henderson and Bailey Fritsch go out.
Good move by Longmuir with Oscar McDonald because they've got a lot of defenders, but they don't have any backup forwards. And, in an equal world, you see Bailey Fritsch get dropped this week. It could have easily been Jai Amos, but there's just nobody. The cupboard's bare from a key forward point of view. We know Luke Jackson will come back into the mix as well, so I don't mind it. Now, Freo have slightly changed their game style. So right now they're number one from scoring from their back half launches. So they go at 23% from their back half. They actually turn that into a goal. Number one in the competition. They've also stopped kicking the ball around in the back line a lot. And the evidence of that is in 2024, they ranked 8th for marks, which was 93 per game. So you remember the vision of Luke Ryan and Brennan Cox and Alex Pearce, pretty slow in the back line. You don't see that too often anymore. And they do now kick the ball down the line. They're happy to do that. It helps when you got somebody like Josh Tracy ahead of the ball. But they were 13th last year for long down the line. They're now second this year. Against Melbourne, they've won their last three by an average of 50 points. I'm not going to use the word bunny, but they've been pretty successful in recent times. And I think it's because Melbourne's midfield, for as good as they've been, they can't go with Freo's midfield with the way that they work. When you talk about Sarong, Brayshaw, Young's back into the mix, he'll spend a bit of time forward, but I just think there's a fitness difference between the two. Big day for Max Gawn. Needs to dominate against Sean Darcy, and that's probably the reason they brought Oscar McDonald in, because they want to try and curb the influence of Max Gawn, but also they don't want Sean Darcy rucking for too long, given he's still coming back from his injury concerns. But I think Max Gawn should ruck the whole game if you're Melbourne, because it means that you're going to get up against McDonald at some point. He'll be fatigued, but he can position himself behind the ball, try and conserve energy at the right time. But that's their chance, the window, because Sean Darcy couldn't play more than 65, 70% in the ruck. That's the chance to get some ascendancy at the stoppages. Some big calls finally from Goodwin with Van Rooyen and Bailey Fritsch out. But if you look at the forward line for Melbourne, Turner, Fullerton, Tholstrup, I'm not sure Pearce, Ryan and Cox will be shaking in their boots. And given they've been a club that's really struggled with their inside 50 efficiency, I think that'll be the difference in the game. Fremantle will get them on the counter and they'll be winning by 35 points, Tim.
Fremantle for me as well. All righty, let's get our teeth into the other games before we get up to the 7:30 news. Adelaide Oval, Adelaide are home again. They brought in Murray and Berry for Scholl and Peatling. No change at the Giants.
Been impressed with the Adelaide Crows, albeit they got run over last week. At home, I think they're a different team than away. Giants, they're doing everything right. They're my favourite for the premiership, but I just think at home, the Adelaide Crows have to show some fight and the Giants might just have the down day.
Yeah, Giants for me. I'm very confident about them. Noah Bolt has been named for Richmond. Samson Ryan, Sam Lawler come back in for Bauer, Sonsi and Blight has lost his spot. Budrick comes in for Hase.
Been a lot spoken about Noah Bolt. It won't make any difference to the Tigers, who were pretty good against Fremantle last week for the first half, but we're starting to believe in this Gold Coast Suns team, and they are the sole remaining undefeated team, and they would go to 5 and zip. And Tim still got a game up their sleeve against the Bombers later in the year.
Gold Coast for me, Gold Coast for you. All right, let's go to Sydney on Sunday. Melican, McInerney, Francis and Payton come in for Amati, who has he been dropped, Amati? Oh, no, he's injured. He did a hammy. Finlayson, Atkins and Burn-Jones come in for Port. No outs at this stage.
Toss of the coin this one. We know Sydney are better at the SCG, but Port Adelaide, how can you go against them after that performance just a couple of days ago against the Hawks? To the loser, it gets hard, doesn't it, out of these two teams? Both are sitting on 2 wins, but they just lose touch with the top 8. I'm going to go Sydney at home with no confidence.
Sydney for me as well. Convinced, not quite in the side yet, but he's very close. Jed Buslinger, who's been named. If he plays, he'll be his debut, of course. He's going to be debuting.
Debuting.
That's exactly what he's been doing. He's going to be debuting. Bontempelli's back. Baker, Buslinger and Gallagher. Harms goes out of the lineup. He's injured. And Schoenmaker, Henry and Boyd in for St Kilda. No change to their team at this stage.
Could be a coaching masterclass, I reckon, this one with Ross Lyon involved. The Bulldogs have been pretty good. How long can they keep putting up these good efforts and not winning? I think at some point they might have a full down day. it wouldn't surprise me that St Kilda actually win this game. And whilst they were well beaten by the Giants, I was impressed with their last quarter where they showed a new style of play that when things aren't going right for them, they can flick the switch, and they were pretty attacking in that last quarter. I think the Saints can cause the upset here.
Saints for me as well, Paul. We agree. And no lineups named at this stage for Geelong and Hawthorn. That game's on Monday. Looking forward to this one.
Oh, worried about the forward line. Connor McDonald being out, and then you throw in a few others with Marbia Chol as your sole key forward. It's not strong enough, is it?
No, I agree.
Is Marbia Chol playing any better football, or is he just in a winning team?
Yeah, he's in a winning team.
It's amazing the difference when you're in a winning team.
Exactly right.
How much gets glossed over. I don't think he's been that much better than what he's shown throughout the major part of his career. Gee, Geelong were impressive. Geelong. I think Geelong will win.
I'm tipping Hawthorn, but with great reluctance. I still think Hawthorn are genuine. But yeah, hard to go against the Cats. Cats have been good. So you've gone for North Melbourne, Essendon, Freo, Crows, Suns, Sydney, Saints and Cats. For what it's worth, me, after tipping Collingwood last night, gee, I was good tipping them. North Melbourne, Essendon, Freo, GWS, Suns, Sydney, Saints and Hawks.
I'm the king.
Thank you. We'll take a break with some news. Thanks to Greenworks, we have dissected the round ahead. Thanks to Greenworks Power, Greenworks Quality, Greenworks Range, your ultimate battery power garden brand is now here.